Yeah, how you doing? Miller Road here. Yeah, I'm just taking a little walk. I left my, apartment, a little while ago just to go take a walk around town. And as I kind of came down this way, it's about 2.5 miles from my apartment. I'm gonna, guesstimate. I'm back in my stomping grounds here where I spent so many years stealth camping. So I just thought I'd walk the area, and perhaps any viewers that are interested want to come along for the walk. See the area that I've camped in for so many years, stealth camped. Some railroad tracks over there. I've camped out in these woods here. I don't like them too much. They're kind of in they're in the wetlands, and there's more mosquitoes in it here than normal. But they sustained, I sustained some camping in there for a couple of months at a stretch and never was busted, so. This area here is, one of my stomping grounds for sure. I'm familiar with all of this. I've been probably camping out around here since like 2012. Yeah, we are definitely going through a bit of a drought. Everything looks kind of low, but I don't know if you can see the water over here, but that there's a area that I've swam in. I usually don't swim in this particular area so much. Because if anybody walks by, people can see you. I used to have some trails cut through here, and there's through there, but I'd have to go and cut them again. And it's like a lagoon. The water's looking kind of murky today. It's pretty deep in the middle there because the water's been kind of coming in, and it kind of carved out a real deep area. I would estimate it to be 12 feet deep, if not 15. And it's only right there in that spot in the lagoon, and then turns back into a stream, and it's only, a few inches deep. I had a few beers yesterday. I save up my drinking nights. I only drink once in a while. Over here is PennDOT, Pennsylvania DOT, Department of Transportation. It's pretty swampy over there. That's why that water was murky, because a lot of it's draining in from the swamps. And this here place that I kind of spent a lot of time thinking and growing, spiritually and healing psychologically, that kind of stuff. Spent a lot of time doing that here. I'm sorry if this is a bit of a boring video. I guess I'm making it as a sort of diary for myself, but anybody, maybe somebody's interested in my old stomping grounds, what it's like to play, what the areas for stealth camping are like around here. There are kind of a lot of bear in this particular area. I've camped up on the hill up in there before, and I lost 2 tents to bear. they might not find you for a while, but once they locate your tent, they wait for you to leave. And when they know you're gone, then they rip your tent to pieces looking for food. They're not grizzly around here, they're black bear. Black bear could kill you easy, but they're generally afraid of people. I've chased them away a time or two when I've seen them around. And they've always ran. I've yelled at them, get out of here, like that, you know. I don't see them too often, though. Of all the animals that I see, I think they're one of the most elusive. I've always seen several of them since I've been here. But I just know that there's a lot of them around. There was one that was really big. It was a big male. And I seen him twice. Once I was actually camping and I was sitting out probably just deep in thought and contemplation, and all of a sudden I see that male bear. I think it was pushing 500 pounds. It was huge. And it didn't see me. I just kept real quiet, and it was about 100 yards away, maybe more like about 50 yards. And it just walked into the woods, and there's a little clear area that I could see it walk through. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope that thing doesn't see me. And it didn't. And just kept walking and disappeared. I haven't seen that one in years. A year before that, I seen that same bear. It probably killed, hunting. A hunter probably got it. I think it's huge. It must have been very old. And it's peaceful in here. Listen to the birds. Yep, this is Noah Road stomping grounds here. It's behind the mall. And we're coming up on another area that I've camped in a lot. And a place where I swim in the summer. Now this place used to be much more like open. Nobody had any trespassing signs. Now there's some guy who bought all the land around here and he turned it into a hunting club, and he's got no trespassing signs. I think the reason is probably because of insurance, more than him actually caring about somebody like me walking on the property. But he's just got every nook and cranny, including this little area right now. And then no trespassing. Like, I cannot stand these people that are so pushy about the trespassing thing in an area like this. I mean, I could see in an area that's really part of your property. But yeah, I see all down in here is I take my baths and stuff like that. It's one of the places. And I was camped out a lot right in here. It's one of my first campsites, 2013. And, whoop, good grief, like the dead. In fact, like right here is the remains, probably in 2014. I had a tarp. This branch here was connected to this branch, and I would tie my tarp from that branch, and then I tied it to one of these trees here, and it covered like this. And this tarp was up for over 2 years, and I just never took it down. And every time I was in the area, I would just, you know, go to the tarp. And one day it was taken down after over 2 years. Somebody came in. That was a little bit of a sad day. this area is, you know, it was better. Like I say, it was just so much more open, and there was no signs that said no trespassing or anything like that. Now they got the no trespassing signs. Years ago, I stashed some water, but unfortunately it's been so many years that the cap wore away. I can't drink it anymore. There was a couple of girls. They were a couple, if you know what I mean. They weren't very attractive. But I talked to them a time or two, and I ended up not liking them because they were just kind of trashy characters. But one of them I was able to talk with a little bit, and I took her on a little walk back here, and somewhere over here they had their tent, and it had a lot of stuff in it. In fact, yeah, that's it right over there. They had their tent up here, somewhere around here, and Bear got their tent because I saw the tent was tore up. They stayed there for maybe a couple, 3 weeks, and then they went away from the tent, probably went to a motel, come back, and the tent was destroyed from the bear. Probably the same bears that got my tent more than once. I was camping out in this area at about 2:30 in the morning. I heard bear splashing through that creek, and I got up, and I didn't even have a tent at the time. I kind of chased them away. It was a mother bear and some cubs. And that's a little spooky, you know, but I had to. Anyways, 3 or 4 days later, I was sleeping under a tarp, and I had like a gallon jug of water. I was sleeping real deep. I woke up the next day, and I saw bear bite marks on the, you know, that crushed my, what's that thing called? Oh, a jug of water. Now look at this, you see? See that camera up there? He's had that up for about 3 years now, probably. And I don't know what the hell business he has with that camera, like scoping people out. And he's got a second one up here too. You see, this is what I do. I know the area so well that I keep a lookout for where the cameras are. And like right now, I'm looking across the tracks to see if he's wised up and put more cameras. I mean, he certainly doesn't own the railroad tracks. I mean, that's pretty litigious, you know, to sit there and put cameras up and have him point at the railroad tracks, because he owns a little bit of property, and you saw how thin that property is. Right, what harm is it going to do him if I walk out on that property? You see, because I got this guy, this camera, all of his cameras scoped out. This is what I do. Noah Road is like a ninja. See, here's another one of his cameras. See that? So I walk behind it. Whoever this guy is, I definitely do not like him. This whole area used to be open, and they used to let people walk on it. I don't know how many cameras he might have set up on that property. I know that this guy only goes so far, and then there's another guy who owns a property, and they don't like each other because they got the no trespassing signs literally facing each other's no trespassing signs. The other guy is way cooler about it. This guy he owns, oh my God, he must own 1,000 acres around here. He just got everything, you know. It's mine. Everything is his. And this is an area we're coming up on. And see, J&J Hunt Club. See, this guy owns everything. I can't stand him. And why does it bother him? You know, for somebody just to walk a little tiny bit on his property, you know. Maybe it's just insurance, though. Because you might want to have insurance. But then why does he set up those cameras? Over, you know, looking at the railroad track. Here's another good spot. Like, I've gone upstream, walked through the stream with a pair of, like, shoes on. I think it was like swimming shoes. This is one of my favorite spots. To me, this is kind of a safer spot. I love this area. Pretty cool, huh? And I would say it was probably 2013. I put this railroad tie here, and people have used it ever since. Here's my main swimming place. Of course, I'm keeping my eye out for any new cameras. Oh, don't see any. This is what I call the beach over here. This spot, I don't really trust it for camping because, you know, the owner is just not all that cool, it seems, you know. He used to be cooler. But it's too easy for people to walk in on the property. So I don't camp here. I mean, I would camp, you know, overnight if I had to or something. But I wouldn't like set up a stealth camp here because too many people do come through here. Now this is what I call the beach. Isn't this like a beach? And it's pretty private, and I have definitely, this is my favorite spot to bathe, to swim. You know? I swim a lot here in the summertime when I'm stealth camping. Like even if I'm a half a mile away or a mile away, I'll come here, you know, and have a swim. And there is a spot over there, and for some reason it's deep. There's a real deep spot right over in there. I don't know if you can see how the ground is underneath. It's kind of hard, but then it kind of breaks up. Well, that stuff breaks away, and it can get really deep. It can like carve out real deep. Huh. Okay. They have a lot of high bush blueberries, lots of raspberries around here. And they should be actually ready to go, but I'm just not in the right location. There's some in other locations. And I could walk that way out of here, and there is a sort of like a snack factory. It's a Pennsylvania snack company called Utz, U-T-Z, and it's like a warehouse, and they have like cookies and potato chips and dips, things like that. And when they get a little out of date, you know, and they can't sell them anymore, they're still good. They just dump them they put them in the dumpster. That's only about 100 yards from here. So that's a little handy thing to know for stealth camping around here. And this factory over here, it's Domtar, it's a paper mill. And this is a cool spot, isn't it? And they have water. It's just tap water, unfortunately. And they also have like an electrical outlet. Well, I guess this is just Noah Road saying hello and showing the viewers a little bit of the area. My little stealth camping stomping grounds. This is like the area that really started it all. You know, as far as staying around here, I stealth camped for many years before I ever got to this area because I was a hitchhiker. And I used to hop freight trains. I rode freight trains from Buffalo, New York, all the way to Seattle, all the way down to LA. And lots and lots of track in between. I rode through Kansas and Colorado and Utah and Idaho and where else? Nevada, Idaho, Montana, and North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois, and Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, Georgia. Yeah, I've road trained all over those states. Oh, look at this. Hello, dear. Well, anyways, y'all, I hope you enjoyed it. Taking a walk with me in the area that kind of started it, you know, this stealth camping in the Western Pennsylvania stealth camping. I mean, I've been doing this since I was like, even 17. When I first decided to leave my home as a child, I mean, as an adolescent, I would say. I was 17, and I don't know, my father and I just never get along. And he's got good qualities, but he was very hard for me to, you know, get along with. And I was probably difficult for him to deal with as well, you know, because I just had, I was a very dreamy kind of person. I was unrealistic. And I wanted to be like a mountain man, a ninja, and he didn't know what to do with anybody like that. And what else? So anyways, I decided to quit school because I saw no point of it. I wanted to quit school sooner, but my father wouldn't give me permission. In Michigan, you had to have your parents' permission to quit at 16. So in 17, you could quit without. So I just stopped showing up to school. So my dad basically just kind of really got in my face about it and said, you know, get out if you're not going to get a job and all that stuff. And I just wasn't ready to handle the world. I didn't have thick skin at all. I was extremely sensitive and still am. And I was very stunted in my maturity and my growth. I really was. And, you know, to some degree, I still am. Which is why I've lived the way I've lived. I never could fit in. People pick up on it too. You know, real manly men do not respect me very much. They never have. Every now and then I'll see one that does. They can see something in me that's quality. But most of them don't respect me very much. So I've turned to this lifestyle, and I started it when I was 17. I started basically stealth camping around my neighborhood near Garden City, Michigan. It's a suburb of Detroit. That's where all this really started. And I'd work a job for 3 or 4 months, and then I'd go and, I don't know, never could really hold one down. And then eventually I left home, you know, for good. Well, I had a great grandmother. She always had pity on me and felt sorry for me. And I lived in her basement. And I would work for 3 or 4 months and give her a couple of $100 and, you know, and then sometimes I wouldn't work and she just let me live off of her. You know, I just couldn't get my shit together that way. But eventually I got this one job and saved up about $500 and got on a Greyhound bus and went up to, started my journeying from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, from the Detroit metro area to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And then I worked for room and board, and I hitchhiked, and you know, and then eventually, toward the end of the first summer, after making a little money up there, I started hitchhiking around the country, and I've been doing that stuff till I got here, and then I basically stopped because the world was changing, and I was too. Anyways, here's the Utz factory. Nothing in there today. Oh, there's some potato chips down there. But anyway, yeah, sometimes that's pretty full of goodies. It's calories, you know, if you're scrounging. Well, that's a little bit of my story. That's a little bit of my beginnings, and probably, you know, one of the reasons why I am the way I am. I was horribly picked on. I don't have very good genetics, and people could tell, and I was always weaker than most people. So that's why I got into physical fitness, just to compensate. And now I'm okay, I'm healthy, but I still probably am not as strong as most guys. I have to work harder for what little bit I have. Well, anyways, I'm gonna just continue to keep going the way I'm going. And I don't know where I'm gonna eventually land for good, and I just hope that God keeps revealing himself in snippets of personal revelation, you know, to keep my faith going. And I pray that he, you know, seemingly there's a lot of divine intervention in my life. So I seem to be on the right path, and God seems to have a lot of mercy and patience with me. So that's the one good thing. There is a beauty to my life, you know, what I get out of it. I seem to be more at peace and a little more happier and a little more joyful even than other people who seem to be doing everything by the book, you know. I mean, so really, who's better off? I mean, to have more things is, you know, and to have a better place in society, I guess, or in the eye of society. There's something to be said for that, there's no doubt. But, you know, working as hard as you gotta work to accumulate the wealth to maintain that would take the meaning of life out of me, I think. So, I mean, I'm unstable. My life is insecure. I'm always on the brink of anything could happen. Who knows, you know? I get it. Well, anyways, but, you know, I do have a happiness and a peace that I haven't seen anybody else that I personally met have, unless they're maybe just a little bliss and stupid. There's some people that are just bliss and they just don't go deep, so that's their peace, you know? They don't go too deep. But I can't be somebody who just don't go deep. I just am that way. So I had to really find that inner peace through the madness. Well, my feet are definitely on higher ground than they've ever been. And I 100% give the credit to my Creator. I'm not going to be an atheist. Maybe my religion might not turn out to be true. Maybe God reveals himself to people in a million and one different ways. And maybe it's just the sincerity of the heart that matters more than anything. That's possible, but it's also possible that my religion could be right. So I'm going to keep following it just in case, because I'm getting real results in the real world. A lot of people, they have what they call circular reasoning to affirm their faith. And I don't use circular reasoning. I simply look outside of the religion to see if there's anything that matches up with the claim and anything that produces real results. Real results. Oops. Sorry about that. Covered the lens. Anyways, this is getting to be a long video, and I'm just rambling. My gosh, is it 30 minutes? Yeah. All right, well, from Du Bois, Pennsylvania, just on the outskirts, about 2.5 miles outside of Du Bois. Noah Road, over and out for now.